Seattle, Washington Athletic Club Players Championship. It's Emmett Peixoto in round number 2, pool number 1 versus Charlie Shanks. This one, Matt McLaughlin, as we welcome you into the booth here, was one of the marquee matches of the Race for 8 season. It happened in Denver, Colorado. You were there at that tournament. I'm not sure if you were sitting courtside, but I have a feeling you were standing next to me, maybe out in the gallery.
I was actually on the top back behind the court watching it. It was, you could just hear the crowd going nuts. And I didn't get to see the entire point because there was too many people around watching the match. It was, I think, 28-26 was what it came down to. So it was a very exciting match.
It went both ways. Emmett had this nice comeback, forced overtime, eventually lost to Charlie, who then went up against Luis Moreno in the semifinals, and that was another thrilling match.
Yeah, and then if I remember right,
okay, we're ready to start the match.
Marino and Lenning then had a knockdown drag-out.
Yeah,
Denver was deep all the way through.
It was an exciting tournament. You were there for that one. You played in the finals of that tournament in the senior division. As we get ready for this announcement from Dan Armijo, let's listen in to the referee here.
Heads. Tails. Tails it is.
That Paul Brady versus Sean Linney match was 15 minutes and 7 seconds. Now, we were late on our broadcast, but he got us back on schedule.
Yes, he did. I was a linesman for that match, and I have never seen one of the top players in the United States just get destroyed like that before. I mean, it
okay, serving first from
classes.
Ireland, currently ranked number 1 on this tour. Let's welcome Charlie Shanks.
Charlie Shanks from Armagh, the club Clan Aaron, ranked number 1.
Receiving from California, let's welcome Emmett Peixoto.
Emmett Peixoto, sponsored by the Olympic Club, lives in Watsonville, California.
We have 2 linesmen. They're ready to go. Score is it's this gentleman here in the up here in the lime green.
Referee is Dan Armijo.
Let's
from
play ball.
The island of Rotan.
0 serve 0.
And we're into play here. I think Charlie fears Emmett just as much as anybody that he will play in this tournament. And Emmett gets that quick side out.
Well, Emmett has shown that he can play with anybody. He's a retriever. He gets the
0-0.
ball. He can kill the ball.
Side out.
One thing that should favor Charlie in this
0-0
matchup is the front wall is very fast.
Yeah, these courts are very quick. Players do like to play on them, very bright. But the one thing about the court that's difficult is, and you played there, it's very hot. There's a swimming pool, one level down. There's, as the second as you walk out this door here, it's kind of a gallery looking over into a heated swimming pool, and that precipitation and humidity and the walls are sweating, and it's just a hot environment. You can't tell if the ball's sliding or if they hit a nice reverse.
Exactly. The ball, especially deep in the corners, just does a little bit different things here.
You're listening to the voice of Matt McLaughlin, who is the, for parts of the season, I believe you're either the number 2 or 3 third-ranked player on the tour, in the senior tour, that is.
That would be the old dudes
0-1.
rule
The
division.
old dudes rule tour. Hard to even say it. You almost have to have your teeth missing to say it. Sorry.
Side out.
That's an uncharacteristic shot by Emmett. Usually he lines up and puts his body into the ball a little better than that.
No call. Just looked like a regular shot to me. 2-0.
Score should be 2-0 in favor of Shanks.
Side out.
That's a good shot by Emmett. Took something off it and dropped it in the corner, knowing
0-2.
Charlie was right next to him.
Best 2 out of 3 to 15. Tiebreaker played to 11. Yet the win by 2. So far, we've not had to see any overtime matches. That was a flat rollout from Emmett Peixoto.
And that's a tough shot to hit coming out of the corners.
1-2.
With the ball coming off that glass.
Hold it. Screen serve. One screen.
1 serves 2, 1 screen. Matt, you did not bring your wife Melanie here.
No, she is at home with our daughter. My parents are in town. My niece is graduating from high school, so they have a big party for her on Sunday.
1.
But I was allowed to come play in the Seattle tournament. So I do have the best wife in the world for letting me do that.
I have the best wife in the world for
Side
just
out.
marrying me.
And working very hard.
Right down the wall. It was right down the wall. I didn't see a chance. 1 serves 2. Side out. He's appealing short. One agrees or both agree. Did you agree? Both agree.
Dan Armijo feels like he's pulling the crowd.
It's funny.
2-1.
One agrees, both agrees. Do you agree? Dan's just trying to see how many people he can find that'll agree to it with what he had to say there.
Dan brought a companion with him to Seattle this tournament.
Really?
Point.
Yes.
What's that little pup's name?
You know, I don't know her name, but she's sitting in center back court watching the match.
3-1.
That's a first.
Short.
Yeah, I did not know she existed.
One
but
serve.
John Bike says they've been dating off and on for many, many years.
Score is 3-1. Charlie Shanks, #1 player on the tour, had a great season, and he is probably going to win the Players' Championship if he can just keep getting wins here,
Side out.
regardless of what Paul Brady does. Charlie's going to have to start losing right now.
1-3.
But are they in the same pool?
They're not in the same pool. That's what I mean. If Charlie just keeps winning and he makes it to the finals, he's guaranteed to win the actual Players' Championship. Now, there's a winner of a tournament here, and then there's the winner of the overall race points, and Charlie's going to probably get that. I would just go out on a limb and just say he's won it,
2-3.
but I don't want to be too insensitive.
The way Paul Brady played earlier today, you know,
I
the
just
handball-
mean the race tour.
yeah, the race
championship.
tour. The handball gods might actually award him extra points, though.
They should. Paul's just
3-2.
unbelievable, but how could you say what Charlie Shanks is doing is unbelievable? I mean,
Oh.
he's played just equally as inspiring.
Oh, and he's been to all the tournaments and pretty much beaten everybody.
Point.
How many of the tournaments has he won this year?
He's won 2, and he's been in the finals
4-2.
of more than that.
That's the whole point of having a season in rankings is the consistent performance throughout
Score
the
okay?
season. So
Count.
one thing that you do see a lot on this court, you mentioned the pool earlier, is with the humidity, the players sweat a lot down there, and anytime you hit the floor, you've got to wipe it up.
Well, it's not going to lift off on its own. I mean, it's just too wet in the air.
I mean, even at the beginning of a match, guys are already pouring sweat.
5-2.
That was an unbelievable rollout from Charlie Shanks. Took the ball from the deep left corner and put it in the right corner, just like it was just a walk in the park. I don't know if we have Okay, there's no timeout.
6-2.
6-2, Charlie Shanks.
Side out.
And you hear that side out call from the referee. 2-6 is the score. Emmett's father,
2-6.
James, his mom, Margie, watching back in Watsonville, California. Behind the back there from Charlie. Charlie just skips in that laser.
That's a rare miss from that distance for Charlie.
3-6.
It's a nice pinch in the corner from Charlie. Emmett staying with his serve down the right that worked so well for him this morning against David Fink.
6-3.
Emmett is famous for playing with the crowd and just told everybody that he missed the
7-3.
shot and he had no complaint because that's what he wanted.
Do you
One
find that
short.
when your opponent is chirping with the referee and being overly nice, does it throw you out of your game just a little bit? Because Emmett does his,
Okay,
what
second
Emmett
serve.
is doing right now is a different form of gamesmanship. He's just trying to slow things down, and it's hard to tell a guy to get in there and serve or play handball when you're having a conversation with him as a referee.
Yeah, if you're less experienced players will let that bother them, but people like Charlie, Paul Brady, I don't think it's going to bother guys like that because
Side
they're
out.
focused solely on the game at hand. I know that was, when I was a younger player, that was one of my biggest weaknesses is I worried about everything that was going on except for myself.
3-7.
I absolutely love the front court view that the viewers get from this court. I don't think there's any other court on your schedule that has the camera angle from the front court, is there, Dave?
Well, Los Cab starting off the season and then ending
7-3.
the season. I guess that's apropos. It would be much nicer if they all had them and we'd use them. But this is certainly the best view because you know why? What makes this different than Los Cab is this is about 4 or 5 feet off the ground. Los Cab's only 22 inches off the ground. Got a different
Hold it.
angle there.
Play it over.
Here the problem with Los Cab is that the players are serving the ball into the hole. There's a lot of redos. And here you're actually looking at eye level. Look at Charlie, and you know, he's 6'2".
7-3.
Is there also a camera in the lower right corner as well?
There could be. It's for a looking at that server right there, how the server comes in towards that camera. That's what it's designed for. I wish that we'd use that actually. It's developed for watching the server at the short line.
This.
It's going to be a big setup for Charlie. And he goes
That's
over the top of that ball. This is the reason why Charlie doesn't want to play Emmett. Look how many balls Emmett's able to get, and then Charlie finally hits it into the ground, and Emmett tries to charge up the crowd there. But see, that's really Emmett that causes that because he's forcing Charlie to finally go for something aggressive that he doesn't
3-7.
want to.
Well, in that volley, Charlie had 4 back wall setups, and he
Hold
didn't
it,
shoot
play it
one
over.
until the last point. He just kept hitting it back, and Emmett will go get those all day long. Emmett, who also
3-7.
recently cut his hair for this tournament.
Unbelievable power from Charlie.
With his left hand at that.
Hold it, sorry. I forgot about the no bad bounce rule. Let's play it again. My fault.
Here on the Race for 8 Tour,
I know,
the
you yelled
only
out. I was
bad
thinking
bounce is
bad
played
bounce.
over as a slide on
Bad
the
call.
serve.
3-7.
Well, that's not necessarily the referee's fault here. I mean, listen to this angle. Emmett yelled out something, and the referee then stopped play. And if anything, it would have been, I hate to say this for the Peixoto camp, but Emmett kind of caused that by yelling, and you heard him say something.
Yeah, and
so the referee then stopped too, saying, "Oh, you stopped, I stopped. Let's just play it over," which is the right call. But
and we were discussing earlier about
Side
how
out.
you handle people like Emmett, who's using the tactics to slow things down. Charlie didn't let that bother him at all. He just
Timeout.
lets it
Score
roll off his back
7-3.
and moves on.
score is 7-3 here. It's the race for 8. Pool number 1, round number 2. Both of these players had wins. This right here could determine who wins this pool. This is what you would almost consider the final of pool number 1. Shanks defeated Nadia Alvarado. Fink got defeated by Emmett Peixoto. That in a traditional format, that's the 4 players that would put Shanks versus Peixoto in the finals of that pool. Now we still, of course, have to have Fink versus Alvarado. So to kind of what you would say close out 3rd place or 4th place. We'll find out who is 3rd and 4th off of that match. So as much as people are wondering, you know, this pool play is so confusing, you can see very clearly this is very much like a traditional tournament with that last match determining 3rd and 4th place.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess we could have put it on a bracket like a traditional bracket and you could have seen how it was, but the only difference is there could have been some ties here, some strange wins and losses. Shanks could have lost to Alvarado. Alvarado could lose to Dave Fink. Fink could lose to Shanks. And then you'd have a whole different look at that bracket.
And then you'd have, as they say in March Madness, pandemonium. Very unusual defensive rally here. See, Charlie just hit a great pass shot, and Emmett just went and get it.
Well, Emmett's...
that's what he does.
Sometimes just watch Emmett react to Charlie's shots. He knows where Charlie's going to hit it. It's not that he's faster than everybody else. He just gets himself there and then closes it out. And then Emmett turns around and wants a little bit of that.
Yep.
And the crowd gives it to him.
He deserved it. That was a great rally.
He wanted it, and the crowd gave it to him.
3-7.
He's going with a different serve here.
That's a big setup for Emmett's left.
Yep.
Now he just hit that same shot, so he knows exactly what it feels like coming off the hand, and he goes forward again and gets it.
Well, and he had a lot of room for error there as well because he knew he had Charlie standing right behind him when he hit that shot, so he just hit it about 2 feet high down that left wall.
4-7.
Emmett is now using a serve that's resulting in these defensive rallies, and that might be a strategy of his because I think he knows that he could play this all day long.
Wow, nice little underhand paddle fist from Charlie. He uses the fist like a paddle as he pops that ball underhand. Seems a little unorthodox because Charlie does use that underhand paddle shot or fist shot, but he usually is doing it to drive the ball about 3 feet high. That one, he actually went for that shot.
7-4.
Charlie has his patented serve down the right. It very rarely gives his opponent a setup. It's a phenomenal serve. And he rarely hits it off the sidewall either.
8-4. Short.
I think that ball was good. It'd be interesting what the appeal process. Ooh, they agreed with him.
I guess everybody was fooled.
Second serve.
Well, that and
or it was really short.
Yeah, and I might need glasses because
he hit it so hard. I don't know how anybody can even see. Even on camera where we get to see it in high def, I couldn't tell. Wow. That's what Charlie's known for right there.
Mm-hmm. Serve and shoot. That's what Charlie just did. Rolled that ball out from 38.5 feet.
Nine, 4.
Charlie definitely took a chance with a left-handed fly kill opportunity from about 30 feet and
4, 9.
put it in the floor. So that's,
Well, it made a noise.
yeah, that's that glass back there. There are some
Luck of the
spots on it
Irish.
where it comes off a little funny, and it doesn't come true like a concrete wall would. So
9, 4.
Emmett's saying that, you know, why does it do it on my shot? How come it doesn't just does it on yours? But technically, Emmett should have had an avoidable against him for yelling out when the.
before the play had ended.
Yeah, actually, it was before the bad bounce started. Emmett yelled out. He was mad at
10,
himself.
4.
A nice little reverse.
Hold it.
Wow.
Charlie's got a huge wrinkle. I mean, this ball, the difference. Charlie and Luis Moreno hit the ball 90 miles an hour, and they have it.
10, 4.
The old guys used to hit it 60 miles an hour, and their ball would break 4 feet. You have to understand, Charlie's and Luis's would break 4 feet, but it's going to double bounce the back wall, so you never get to
Absolutely.
see how far the ball would have hopped. I'd hate to see how good Charlie would be outdoors
11,
on a long
4.
three-wall court, hitting those deep hooks,
Oh, he would be tremendous.
90-mile-per-hour hooks.
Side out.
Well, Charlie is leading 11-4, so his strategy in this game is paying off so far. Emmett's going back to his little
4, 11.
serve. Well, he's going to overhand lob serve. Trying to get Charlie out of his offensive game.
And it worked there. For Emmett, he's just making sure that that first shot
5,
Charlie hits isn't
11.
one that'll get him out of court position. See, Emmett doesn't mind playing here.
No, that's the thing about top
No.
players is they can play defense all day long.
Point.
And now 2 quick points from Emmett after
6,
really
11.
slowing this game down. I mean, it's a complete change here.
Well,
Don't think Emmett won't forget this, Matt.
No, he won't. Charlie's strength is definitely a high pass, powerful game, and just like David Chapman would
Filling
do
the
with all the
serve.
top players, he would drive them nuts by slowing the game down, hitting soft lob serves, and forcing
both
them
say
to
short.
play defense.
That ball's being that side out is being overturned on a short ball that
6,
happened
11.
shots back. But Emmett's completely changed it.
Point.
You can even feel it here. 3 straight points now for Emmett for going up top, and I think now Emmett's going to stick here for
7,
a while
11.
because he found a system.
Absolutely. If you find something that's working, you should stay with it.
Here it is. Emmett's got it again. Emmett's mad at himself.
Hold it.
See, Emmett just had 2 opportunities to get a point and just missed both shots, and he's frustrated with himself right now.
Well, the Emmett from 2008
7, 11.
would not have taken 2 shots there and had the second shot in. That was a short ball, I thought. End on a screen. He would have put away the first one. Watch out.
See, he's just floating the ball up there and just daring Charlie to hit it hard. What a great pass shot.
Now Emmett's in control here. This is like watching a good pitching duel.
And then Charlie comes up with a phenomenal reverse down the left wall that just skated right by Emmett.
Amazing pass from Charlie Shanks back into the box. Shanks serving at 11-7.
11-7.
It'll be interesting to see how he responds here. He's staying with his strength.
Wow. Fadeaway, left-handed, 1-inch high kill shot. A big smile on Emmett's face there.
That wasn't just a fadeaway. That was a 37.5-foot fadeaway. I mean, that was just amazing.
12-7.
Listening to the voice of one of our top seniors, invited to this shindig, Matt McLaughlin, and another corner kill right there. You're going to have to see a timeout soon.
Timeout.
And there it is.
There it is.
Emmett Peixoto calling for that 30-second timeout.
You know, I'm surprised looking around the stands, Dave. There's a person missing that usually tries to get to as many of these tournaments as possible, and that would be James London, who did not make it out here. He is actually in Des Moines, Iowa, playing in the 67th annual Tall Corn Handball Tournament this weekend.
Well, good for him.
At the Missouri State Singles Tournament this year, Jim was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award, and his plaque is hanging next to all the members of the Hall of Fame in Missouri. And at the award presentation, they listed off the announcements of all the B tournaments that Jimmy had won over the years. And at the end, they asked everybody in the crowd, raise your hand if you've lost to Jimmy London. And 80% of the people
really
had lost to Jimmy London at one point in time or another. So Jimmy earned a well-deserved award for his service to the game.
That's unbelievable. It will last.
13-7.
No, we won't. 13-7. I was going to get our photo in this booth here.
Point.
Another good power shot by Charlie. He'll be serving for the game here. And it's important to
14-7.
close it out when you have the points. Yep, that's the first game. Charlie Shanks
Game
winning
on.
15-7.
And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 3 minutes for game number 2. Stick around here at racefor8.com.
It's Timothy Green's first day at school.
What's in there? He's about to fall over.
Anything he might need. There's a box of tissues on the bottom and some Band-Aids. There's a whole first aid kit, actually.
Mom, I can handle it from here.
You don't have to be perfect
Have a great day.
That's too much pressure.
Have the day you have.
to be a perfect parent.
There are two people in the world who want you more than anything. They'll make some mistakes, but they will love you more than you can ever imagine.
There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you.
Brizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
It's Timothy Green's first day at school.
What's in there? He's about to fall.
Back at the Washington Athletic Club for game number 2 after Emmett Peixoto loses the first one, 15-7. Charlie Shanks playing like the #1 player in the world, warding off that Emmett Peixoto squirrel-like gets.
Emmett tried a couple different strategies in that game, trying to slow the ball down, but Charlie, as most top players can do, can be patient. You don't get to be ranked #1 without being a very good player. So,
or being patient,
Okay, we're
or having a
starting.
wallet full of money and just, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I know I have gone up to a player and say, I'll give you 500 bucks
0,
if you let me beat
0.
you.
I've never done that because my wife would kill me.
Okay, I'm not saying I have, I'm just asking. Listening to the voice of Matt McLaughlin, who is in the senior tour. Emmett fights through the pick, gets a left corner kill, excuse me.
It's going to be important for Emmett to get off to a lead here.
1-0.
He needs to establish himself with a 3 or 4 point lead
Short.
to put the pressure on, being down a game to start this second.
Second serve.
Emmett has never had a power serve in his repertoire. A lot of these other young guys,
Point.
Sean Lenning, Luis Moreno, they had power serve. Emmett goes down here.
2 serve
He's
0.
using a fadeaway reverse
Nope.
to the left, and he's using a natural,
Second serve.
a natural to the left and a reverse to the right.
I think his strategy is if he can get
Point.
an ace with the reserve or the reverse down the left wall,
3-0.
he'll get that. But if he hits it short, I think he's fine with it because then he can hit that soft shot. And Emmett is
Replay.
off to he called that over. I don't know. I thought the ball was down, but I could be wrong. But at any rate, Emmett is off to a fast
3-0.
start in this game. That shot Emmett just hit out of that back left corner was a tremendous concentration.
See how Charlie pops that ball up, but he doesn't hit it hard enough. And Matt, this is one of my problems playing with this hard ball, is that I'm afraid to hit the ball
Side
too
out.
hard to the roof. And I'm hitting these sort of softer, modified fish shots to the ceiling. And what happens is, if it hits a side wall, you're almost dead in the water. So you have to go in there and just be aggressive and hit your shots. How do you make that change with this harder ball and,
Yes.
You
and
know,
try to soften it up a little bit? Wear the back finger padded
0
gloves, or
serves 3.
how do you do it?
It's a tough situation because in my match earlier with John Bike, I actually hit a ball out of the back court, and that
That's
cost.
probably something you've never done.
I've never done that in 35 years of playing handball. So you have to really take something off of it, but you have to be careful to not take too much off of it because then you give your opponent a setup.
It's almost as if you hit the ball 90% and it comes off the back wall, but if you hit it 60%, you've given them a setup, and
3-0.
you can never find that spot between 60 and 90. You're always either at 90 or at 50, and
One of the things John Bike does, because he's so powerful and everything he does in the court, is when he hits a ball that he doesn't want to hit
Point.
too hard, he exhales and takes all the breath out of his body before he hits it. So it's almost like he doesn't have anything left in him to hit the ball.
4-0.
yeah, it's interesting. His way of saying it is, I'm going to
Short.
swing as hard as I can with no air in my body, and therefore I'm throwing kind of a change-up,
1 serve.
and I'm still using the same stroke as I normally would, but I just,
Yeah.
and it's a great philosophy because maybe that's the key.
I'd be interested to know where he came up with the idea to do that, because I never would have dreamed of doing that.
Well, you might want to start dreaming. There's a nice shot
Side
right there
out.
from Charlie.
And on this tour, we're not playing the bad bounces. This court doesn't have
0-4.
that many places where a player can take advantage of a bad bounce. There is a door down the right wall, but there's only a couple spots on that door that'll create a bad bounce, and it's just not as deep, you know, a player can correct himself in time.
Hold it.
Charlie, like he's doing a little dance there.
Green.
I didn't know that. He dances like an Irishman.
It's like a Michael Flatley. Just trying to keep it current.
Think he has any clogs in his closet at home?
Well, is that a euphemism? In Ireland, that's what you say. Do you have any clogs in the closet? But it has a whole different meaning. And I'm sorry, sir, but they're not going to let you fly into Ireland now because of that. See Charlie putting his eye guards on correctly.
0-4. Short.
Oh,
Ooh.
Charlie trying to sell it with a fist pump. That really was short.
I thought. Appeal.
Charlie's appealing it.
Good. 2 serves. Sorry.
The referee
Looked
was
like it
overruled.
bounced right after the front wall. I called short. I called short as soon as it hit the front. I thought it was this high on the front wall and hit right away. 2 serves.
Charlie's trying to figure out if the play had commenced. I don't.
Right away. He
The
stopped.
rule is if the ref is overruled, it will be 2 serves. And he smiles at Emmett. He was. I think he might be playing a little bit of Emmett's game right now.
I can't really see from there unless we slow it down right at impact.
2
but
serves.
let's take a look at that front wall camera angle looking back at Charlie and this play here really
Point.
quick. This is a GoPro camera with a fisheye look. Do you like this look?
I love it.
Now, my broadcast
1-4.
partner of late, Dave Fink, does not like this, but I just dig it a lot. For some reason, I kind of forget that we
Side
have all
out.
these different angles, and I'd rather just sit on here for the whole match for some reason. It's becoming infectious for me, but
One of the reasons I like it is because it's in the front wall and you can see 100% of
4-1.
every shot. Very rarely does a guy hit a ball on the court that is out
Point.
of view of this camera.
but what you do miss is when they go for an offensive corner kill, you don't really get to see the ball hit the front wall, so you do miss
5-1.
that. Linda, back in our broadcast enterprise,
One
she can
serve.
do whatever she likes to do now. She doesn't have to stay here, but I just wanted to take a quick look at that front wall angle. Feel free to overuse this angle all you want, Linda. At least for Matt and myself.
Oh, Charlie put a little wrinkle on that ball down the wall, just out of Emmett's hands, and he's slowly trying to creep back into this second game.
1-5.
Score is 1-5. Best 2 out of 3 to 15.
Point.
Good serve. He hit the crack and it popped up, but Emmett wasn't able to react quickly enough, which is
2-5.
understandable because that ball was moving.
Well, who was the hardest hitter you've ever played against?
The hardest hitter.
Listening to the voice of Matt McLaughlin from Lenexa, Kansas. Sorry.
You know, when I was in college, I played a match against John Bike.
Wow.
And
Wow.
this is an unbelievable rally. We'll get back to that in a minute. Now we'll see if Emmett can put this ball away. There he did. He closed out the rally.
Side out.
Slaps his hands. The hardest ball I ever saw was when John Bike was about 21 years old.
5-2.
He used to serve. It was amazing. I've never seen a ball move that fast. But I've also recently seen, Natty's serve is pretty special as well.
6-2.
Yeah, Noddy's got something going on where his ball would explode out of his hand. And you saw that lesson in Denver, that serving lesson. And Emmett misses that shot right there. Quietly while we're talking about hardest hitters and front wall camera holes, look at the score. Emmett's got a 6-2 lead on Charlie.
And we've been watching this. Charlie's
2-6.
been serving an awful lot lately, but he hasn't been able to add points to his column. And of course, as soon as I say that, he rolls the ball off the back wall.
Well, Charlie ended that little run that Emmett had. Score is 3-6. Charlie wins the first one 15-7.
3-6. Point.
Another great serve by Charlie.
That's what a great server can do. Matt, you play serve and shoot handball yourself, and I know you have different forms of handball or styles that you go into depending on how winded you are or how your game is, but Charlie is a serve and shooter. Serve, first strike.
Absolutely.
Is there a way a guy can train? You're a senior player. You've been playing for majority of your life.
No.
Is there a training tool that a player can go in there to learn to be a better serve and shooter?
You know, it's just short bursts. I mean, one of the things that's most important is if you're not playing handball, I don't care how good a shape you're going to be in, you're not in handball shape. So number one, you have to be playing handball. But short sprints, and there are some exercises that are done in a lot of boot camp classes that are 20-second bursts and 10-second off that kind of, in a way, simulates a fast rally in handball. So
Charlie's chirping at Dan here.
Never seen Charlie do this before.
Charlie's upset. And Emmett's not going to give him the ball. Look at this. Charlie asked Emmett for the ball, and Emmett refused to give it to him. I'm not going to let you use this for your props.
Yep.
For the argument.
It was.
And
He
Emmett,
couldn't see it.
Oh.
Let's play it over.
And Emmett is.
He got his hand on it.
I'd like to look at the replay here to see what Charlie's talking about, but Charlie just avoided getting the technical from Dan Armijo because I think Dan Armijo knows he's somewhat wrong. Charlie's upset.
Yes. It'll be interesting to see if he turns this into a serving bench.
6-4. Point.
Oh, and Emmett answers with a nice crack down the left.
7-4. Skip.
And a miss by Charlie. So this Charlie got a little upset, and Emmett's capitalized with 2 quick points to extend his lead to 8-4.
Well, handball is an emotional game. You see some players get upset. It actually makes them better. I thought that was 2 bounces there.
I actually think he got his hand under it.
Cue up the instant replay no matter what happens here. Unless this goes 40 or 50 shots, because there's no way we want to go back and Charlie gets that side out.
Side out.
Nice touch. Change the speed and drop the ball up in the left corner. And Emmett's saying to himself, what am I supposed to do with
Yeah,
that?
I mean, what can I do with that? I mean, I pushed him around and he killed it on an off-balance left-handed kill shot.
And in that case, you just sometimes when you lose a rally or lose a point, you just got to give props to the other guy.
Now this replay might take a while, but I think what happened on that, what I thought was a double bounce, happened early, not late.
Right there.
Ooh, that's tough. Okay, we can go back to live play. That was close though, wasn't it?
It was close. I think
Charlie might have got it, but I mean, in live action, it just had that sort of weird look to it.
And I think it's because it came off the wall at that angle, and you just couldn't see it from. It gave the impression that it bounced.
Score is 8-4. You can see that the players are emotional here. This means a lot to them.
Well, and Emmett in particular, after losing that first game, he absolutely has to keep the pressure on here to force the tiebreaker. He's once again in a defensive rally. And then Charlie took the back wall and hit it about 92 miles an hour for a rollout. Not much you can do with that.
Just 92, no big deal. See what Charlie has to say to the referee here.
Pardon? You got the 2.
He's questioning how many timeouts he has. And in this
4-8.
format, the timeouts are only 30 seconds.
Well, should they Yeah, it takes 10 seconds to get the answer from the referee. You ask that 3 times and you get yourself another timeout. But do you think that they should incorporate in handball rules that if you have to ask how many timeouts, it's a lot like what happens in basketball where you just get assessed with a
5-8.
with a technical and the other team gets to shoot a free throw?
Possibly. I think.
I'm sorry you had to ask, but you just lost the serve, Mr.
Yeah.
Shanks. No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, but
Oh, it's a good topic for discussion.
6-8.
it's not going to go anywhere, but it's a
No.
good topic.
Hold it, screen
Charlie
serve.
has changed things up, and he's now serving to Emmett's left hand for the first time in this match.
2 serves, 1 screen.
We're being
Charlie's starting to come back here.
we're being visited in the booth by the busiest person in Seattle right now.
Short.
Well, she is a working woman.
Yes, she is.
1 serve.
That ball looks purple on this camera angle here. I don't know if you've met our
Hold it.
lead photographer. Matt, have you met our photographer?
I believe I met her briefly in Denver earlier this year, and
That's true.
I've been very happy that
6-8.
she's not gotten too many shots of myself and my spare tire so that you could put them all over the
Well,
internet.
there's a thing called Photoshop.
There's Charlie.
Point.
He's getting aggressive here.
And a timeout
Timeout.
called from
30 seconds.
Emmett Peixoto.
Emmett just lost his 8-4 lead.
Emmett is grinding this one out just like he always does.
Not good.
This is game number 2. Emmett loses the first one 15-7, but here in the second game he was up a little bit more sizable than this, 6-2 at one point. Now Charlie Shanks on a 5-2 run of his own, but Emmett Peixoto still in the driver's seat, still got that lead, trying to force a tiebreaker.
Well, and Emmett's a very experienced
Okay,
player.
time's
he knew
in.
that Charlie was getting on a big run, so he took a timeout wisely to get Charlie slowed down before he could get as hot as a firecracker. We'll see if it works right now, as we are back in 7 serving 8.
Time in.
Looks like Charlie may have changed his shirt.
7.
I didn't think somebody can change a shirt in 30 seconds, and that was actually the longest 30 seconds I've ever seen.
That was... I don't even have words for that serve. That was like what Paul Brady was doing earlier.
Together at 8.
Together at 8 is the score.
Hold it short.
That's a good call. The ball was short. I think Charlie's going to appeal
Both
it, but he's
agree.
going to lose.
1 serve.
Charlie told me that out of all the people on his side of the bracket, this is the one that he feared the most.
Well, Emmett definitely has all the tools to play with anybody on any
Skip.
given day.
Side out.
I think that Dave Fink is one of the most offensive players I've ever played in my life. I play with him locally. I would rather play
8
Dave
all.
against Luis Moreno than to Dave Fink. Moreno gives you opportunities. Fink, he'll make you look foolish, and you'll get less points off Moreno. But Dave Fink is so hard to play because he's always into the left
8
corner.
all.
But Charlie looks at Emmett as the guy that just wears him down, and even if he wins, he still has the rest of the tournament feeling what Emmett did to him a day earlier. So that's where
That's
playing Emmett does to you. That's why you fear him, not fearing the
9-8.
loss or the win or whatever, but just knowing that you're going to go through a grueling match.
You know, and it's very similar to what Dan Armijo does on the senior tour, and he used to do it at a very high level on the pro tour as well. But Dan Armijo is one of those players like Emmett that just gets everything, and every point you get against Dan, you've earned it.
Oh, Emmett barely made that to the front wall, and look what Emmett's
It's a
doing
great
here.
Pop out.
Charlie's back up, back up. Charlie goes for the kill. Emmett dives
got
in,
it.
misses the ball. Charlie gets back in with the point.
And Emmett is frustrated. Playing the luck card, I would have to disagree with Mr. Peixoto. I think Charlie works pretty hard for that.
Well, that's all part of the gamesmanship.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's
If he can get inside of Charlie's head, I think that may be also an angle of what he might be pursuing here as well.
Luck of the Irish.
See, little handshake right there. So Emmett's basically saying to Charlie,
He
I said
knows.
it was lucky, but then he
knows.
just turned around and said to Charlie, well, you're all right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's gamesmanship, and
I also believe that some of that of what Emmett's doing is just to keep himself loose, because at a younger age he was a little bit more intense. But I mean, he's always acted like this. Don't get me wrong, but there's a serious Emmett when he's serious on the court. I don't think he wants to be there. He wants to be at this more relaxed phase, because as you were talking about John Bike letting the air out when he hits a ceiling shot. With Emmett, it's
10,
being
8.
relaxed. He has to put himself in that place. Score is 10-8. Emmett was leading throughout. Now Charlie here
he's on a 6-0 run.
doing well.
And Emmett just had a corner kill on a ball that literally almost bounced out of the court. It would have been a point either way with the rules that we're playing with now.
8-10.
Emmett was leading 7-4. Now Charlie up 10-8.
One short.
That's a 6-1 run, and probably a 6-0 run, like you said.
Charlie's going to shoot that ball.
Well, Emmett had his back turned to
Yes,
Charlie
absolutely.
there.
That's why
I'm
we
very
both knew.
surprised. Get artists like that didn't just turn and square up.
Because
10-8.
one of the things you have to do is you have to know where your opponent's going to hit the ball.
Wow.
Nice, another power kill.
That's an amazing shot right there from Charlie Shanks. I say amazing until you watch the next guy play and the next guy after that. But Charlie certainly
11-8.
hits that ball hard. I mean, remember
That's-
back when you were younger, Matt, and you walked in the court and you played, and when you hit a kill shot or you hit the hardest ball you can
Glove
possibly hit,
change.
it seems so easy to do that. But as you put 20 or 30 years on that arm, now you're starting to try to feather everything into corners, and every now and then you step onto the court, and as an aging over 40 player, you hit the ball as hard as you can. You go, wow, well, I forgot I could do this. It might be a, tournament to tournament before you remember that you can actually hit with power. I mean, really hit the ball hard, and it makes you wonder why you don't do it. So you do it more until you get home and you can't sleep at night because your neck won't work.
That, and one of the things that plays a big role, especially when you get older, is the condition of your legs. I mean, if you're not getting into proper position and getting the momentum of your body into your shot, and if you're relying solely on your arm, it's just not going to be what it used to be. So we're in the middle of a timeout here, or a glove change.
Actually, this is pretty entertaining right here. This
ball-
watching this ball roll is more entertaining than watching that Dave
And
Fink match earlier.
which-
You're watching game number 2 though, where Emmett Peixoto loses the first one 15-7. Here is still down, but he found a system. He came out in that game number 2 and decided to go with a power serve, and he was actually getting points from Charlie on staying power serve and then going first strike or going back to methodical, but certainly keeping Charlie in the back court. Now Charlie's found his groove in the server's box. You'll
Yeah.
never tire out Emmett.
No. And Charlie serves down the right.
Let's resume play.
He's starting to hit those with a nice natural and keeping it off that side wall, which makes it that much tougher to get.
We have a very entertaining match coming up next between Fink and Alvarado, and entertaining for the very wrong reasons. But that'll be a fun one.
That's always a fun one to watch.
I mean, it's entertaining depending on how you like your entertainment.
12-8.
Charlie's upset here.
And he
Charlie doesn't like the cadence from the referee.
He wants to close this out.
He's
as
like, how
fast
long
as
do I have to
possible.
wait for you to call the score? And see how something like just the referee, holding a side conversation with the crowd can just
8-12.
get into a player's head? How do you overcome some of that stuff when you're in a tournament? Because, Matt, I'm assuming that you've probably had your battles with referees.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're a hothead. I'm just saying.
I used to spend too much time worrying about the referee, and that was always a detriment to my game. As I've gotten older and hopefully a little wiser, I try and
9-12.
stay away from that because it just doesn't do anybody any good.
Short.
Because it's hard enough just staying focused when
One
you're playing
serve.
against top competition than trying to worry about what the referee is doing. Emmett's trying to get back into this.
Well, Emmett's 1 point away from making this one very interesting. And I think he might have.
What a
Nope,
great
Charlie
get.
gets it again. Look what Emmett's doing here, just
He's
peppering every ball to the same spot. He dives in for a
Look at
flight
that.
kill on his backside and gets it into the corner. I don't know if I've ever even seen that shot before.
He looked like an outfielder that sometimes slides and catches a ball in the outfield.
I thought it was Lou Brock for a second. I couldn't tell the difference.
I don't think Lou Brock could.
Maury Wills. Okay. Someone yelled out there, Vince Coleman. I mean, I don't know. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this rally from the First Star Sports Instant Replay booth. Emmett, same spot, pushes Charlie the same thing. Charlie does the same thing. Emmett goes down,
That's just a great
slides
shot.
in, does a pop-up slide, fist pump, looks back at the crowd, and he gets his 10th point.
10-12.
As expected, entertaining match.
Well, Emmett will not go quietly, that is for sure. He'll fight to the wire.
You could hear that from here without the headphones on.
You know, when John Bike blows the air out on his ceiling balls, it's a lot quieter than that.
12-10.
That was a good get by
Replay.
Emmett. Another crack. Good return.
Actually, this, it's very similar to a Kurt Schilling versus Greg Maddox interleague play. You're watching a great pitching duo.
This is a very long rally.
I just think you have to appreciate this style of play. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see this sort of thing again.
Hold it, play over.
There was a
Strange play over there. I just don't know what else the player would have done if they were able to see that ball 100%, but the crowd still puts their hands together. Charlie's upset because he just feels that the ref is not doing a good job, but I mean, I guess I can see his point.
He still has the serve here, and Emmett looks like he's got a few breaths in him right now. So after that long rally, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with his serve.
12-10. Boy, Charlie,
Look at
hooked that ball. Charlie hit a reverse so big that it clipped that back corner, and Emmett just went around the revolving door with it and did his own little slice with his left hand. Charlie can't miss too much with that reverse.
10-12.
To the right, because Emmett's got such a great left hand.
Emmett has the exact same stroke with his left hand that he does with his right. You can virtually not tell the difference between them as he rolls another one out with his left hand.
11-12.
Well, as Emmett said in that riveting interview that I'm sure you read on Facebook with our correspondent Bo Henry, he bruised his hand so severely. His right hand, and there it is. He's tied the score at 12.
Yes, he has.
But he bruised his right hand so severely as a kid that he was out of the game for 6 months. So he decided to play just left-handed exclusive. But we're talking about a kid that just started playing handball. So he decided his first 8, 9 months of playing handball, 6 of them were with his left hand, his offhand, and that's where he developed that amazing left hand of his. So he says.
You didn't want to give up that setup.
Now, apparently you didn't read that interview, that riveting interview with Bo Henry, but I did. I read every word.
12 ball.
Is Bo Henry, is he going to make an appearance here at the Washington Athletic Club this weekend?
I heard that he doesn't travel with Dave Fink because they've got a conflict of interest with each other. I mean, I heard a rumor that they've never been seen in the same room at the same time, but
12 ball. Hold it.
They have a mixed relationship. Bo is educated and Dave is a psycho.
Short.
That ball was short. That's going to be appealed.
I
All
don't-
part of Emmett's.
One agrees,
Let's slow
one
this game down.
disagrees. One serve.
What were you saying?
That ball broke.
That's why it
That's the
was
first
short.
ball I've seen break this weekend.
Well, it's about the third one.
Oh. And Emmett flashes his pipes to the crowd.
You're watching the Players' Championship. This is pool number 1, round number 2.
Yeah, I got one.
Now, the pools were simply just looking at the rankings, the race rankings, and seeding the players based on their race points, as in a traditional quarterfinal match. And Charlie, Shanks, and Emmett would have been in an upper bracket of that traditional match, so therefore they're in pool number 1 alongside the other upper bracket pool players of Emmett Peixoto and, Nadia Alvarado and Dave Fink. But unfortunately, that led for a Paul Brady, Luis Moreno,
Friday night match.
Sean Linning, and Andy Nett lower bracket pool number 2, which seems like it's a little bit steep, but that's just the way it is. No subjectivity here.
No. When you set this Players' Championships up to seed it based on the race tournaments, that was done, I believe, to reward people who showed up and played in the race. Paul Brady is here solely because of the fact that he won the first stop.
He won the first stop, which we were trying to generate hype for the event. It had double cash. I mean, triple, quadruple cash. $25,000 or $20,000 for first place. So he also got double points. Now, it wasn't just for Paul Brady because Paul Brady didn't enter the tournament the year before that.
That's correct.
Okay, so a lot of people are saying, oh, you did that because Paul. No, actually, we did it the previous year when Paul didn't even enter, and Charlie did, and he didn't even win the race. Okay, so, Charlie did play in that one, and I believe Robbie McCarthy might have won that year. Whatever. But nonetheless, those guys played in those tournaments and they got double points, and so did everybody else that played in that tournament. And a lot of these players that are in the race rate right now that took it serious and played in the U.S. Open in the singles as opposed to the doubles capitalized on those points, and that's why they're here today.
So it's one serve.
If you look at Nadia Alvarado Jr., he almost missed it. If Alan Garner would have taken his invite, Nadia would have been in the seniors.
You didn't check the ball. It's one serve.
We have a 12-12 score here.
Uh, 12 up, second serve.
How many times is the referee going to have to say the score here? Oh, wow. Charlie clips that side. Now that cadence from the referee getting into Emmett just a little bit.
Serves 12.
Oh, Charlie hit a great serve down the right wall. It stayed on the right wall, and Emmett wasn't able to peel it off.
13-12.
Here it is.
So Charlie came in and got 2 quick points, and now he'll be serving for the match.
Possible match point, serves 12.
And now Charlie finishes off Emmett with an ace down the right.
Sort of as if Charlie just says, I just need a couple points, and let me just go get them. And he did. 15-12, closing out game number 2 after taking the first one 15-7. And Charlie is the outright leader right now in his pool, and he's geared up to go to the finals. And we're going to catch Charlie on the court here as Tracy Davis has Charlie courtside. Tracy?
Face the camera over here. Just get a little bit closer to me. Thank you very much.
Get all the cosmetics
Charlie,
together.
another good win for you there. In control, game 1, game 2. A lot of good rallies between you and Emmett. A lot of great gets by both of you. He had the lead. You were down 2-6, and you were relying on your right-hand serve. You changed a little bit to the left. What was your game plan in trying to get yourself back into game 2?
Game 2 was just, try and pressure Emmett's right hand. He's coming back from shoulder injury on that right side, and he's not as confident in stroking the ball. So I was just trying to force some errors from him, get the ball down the right, and unfortunately, it kind of wasn't working too well for me. I think that the last serve there, game ball, was the best serve down the right I hit all evening. It kept catching the side wall there, and no matter how many times I did, was thinking, don't hit the side wall. It very well hit the side wall. So I just try and switch it down the left and keep him honest as much as I could.
And so how are you feeling right now? I have to ask you, watching from the camera cubby here, you have a huge welt on the back of your leg from getting hit with the ball. Are you feeling that right now? Apparently not.
No, apparently not. I'd probably feel it in the morning when it the muscle gets a bit bruised and the blood stops pumping through. But yeah, I didn't even notice it, so it's going to look nasty then, yeah.
It was looking pretty painful from there. That's why I had to ask you, are you feeling it right now? Once your adrenaline starts to drop, maybe you will.
Yeah, the adrenaline's still going, so I can't feel it at all, like, you know. But yeah, I'm just a bit tired this evening, you know, so I got to go back and get some rest.
Well, congratulations on a very good win, and you are 2-0 in your pool play, so you play tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow. Yeah, have a good night. Yeah.
That's Tracy.
Back to you, Dave.
Davis, thank you. Catching Charlie Shanks there courtside. We are going to have another match coming up right around the corner. In fact, Nadia Alvarado versus Dave Fink is going to be quite entertaining. I want to thank you, Matt, for coming into the booth. You're really good at this, so if you have nothing else to do the remainder of the weekend, starting whenever you want, feel free to stay in here.
I will be around whenever. I'm at your service.
Okay, great. We'll have more handball coming up right around the corner. Thanks for tuning in. Historic Washington Athletic Club in Seattle, Washington will have another pool number 1 round of 2 play between Fink and Alvarado right around the corner within 10 minutes. Stay here at racefor8.com.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.